Hello, everyone. This is Rich Sports Talk, and I'm your host, Nolan Rich. Thank you so much for joining us here today. And of course, we have to talk about one of the biggest topics in all of sports, and that is Aaron Rodgers is back for the Green Bay Packers. And I've seen the headlines. Packers fans rejoice. He's back. He's in Green Bay. This is great news. And it's funny because Packer fans are showing oh my God, Aaron's back. He's back with the organization. But people are missing, I think, one of the big aspects of this whole Aaron Rodgers saga, especially what just took place with the organization now agreeing to void his contract in 2023 and say that they will meet at the end of the 2021 season to discuss an extension. There is a lot to unpack here, but it is very interesting because you look at Aaron Rodgers and you look at the quarterbacks around this league, and there has been something that has fundamentally changed over the last 2 years in the NFL. And it starts with one person. And it's funny because when we talk about Aaron Rodgers, I don't think we're talking enough about this person and how it's impacted this whole situation in Green Bay. And that is Tom Brady. Why am I talking about Tom Brady? Well, people are going to say, well, he won the Super Bowl last year. That's why you're talking about him. It goes further back. So let's get the obvious out of the way with Tom Brady. But more importantly, we will get to the thing that Tom Brady did that no one's talking about and how it impacts the Green Bay Packers. So let's talk about the big picture. What has happened this offseason with star quarterbacks? Deshaun Watson before the criminal charges, Aaron Rodgers, and Russell Wilson. What has happened this offseason? All three of them have made it clear that they are unhappy with the direction of their organization, two of which have strongly told their organizations, I don't want to play here anymore because I do not trust the organization. That's Aaron Rodgers and Deshaun Watson. And even with everything going on, the Texans still saying that they are trying to trade Watson. But it would be for a hefty price. They're looking for 3 first-rounders, 2 seconds. I don't think they're going to get that with all the litigation going on right now. But I digress. So what happened last season that all of a sudden quarterbacks are speaking out? And not just any quarterbacks. You could make the case that 3 of those quarterbacks are in the top 5 or at the very least top 10 quarterbacks in the entire NFL. It's Tom Brady. Why am I going back to Tom Brady? Because what happened last year with Tom Brady? He goes to Tampa Bay and basically gets to pick and choose what he wants. You remember the old Bill Parcells saying when he was in New England, if you're going to make the dinner, they should let you shop for the groceries? Well, Tampa Bay basically just decided, yeah, Tom Brady can go shopping with a blank checkbook. LeGarrette Blount just got cut. Yeah, bring him in. I want to bring Gronk out of retirement. Oh, no problem, Tom. I want Antonio Brown, even though he is nuttier than fruitcakes. Oh, sure, no problem, Tom. Bring him in. No problem. Get who you want. And what happened? They won the Super Bowl and are once again favorites to at least get back to the Super Bowl. So Deshaun Watson was sitting there in Houston going, my head coach was running the operation. We would have had a top 3 pick this year, except we traded it for an average left tackle. And oh, by the way, we traded one of the top 2 receivers in the NFL for a second-round pick and an aging running back. Aaron Rodgers is sitting in Green Bay going, you can't bring any pieces. You've already drafted my successor despite going to 2 NFC championship games. And oh, by the way, you let go my all-pro center. And meanwhile, we're looking at the best one has been Russell Wilson because at least the Seahawks have made efforts to bring in pieces and address the offensive line. Heck, even Patrick Mahomes, after the Super Bowl, didn't even say anything. And the Chiefs are like, here you go, Patrick. Everything you could ever want on the offensive line. So we've seen that perspective. Why are the quarterbacks acting this way? Well, because Tom basically went into Tampa Bay and got to do whatever he wanted and won the Super Bowl. That's the optics. But there's a lot more to that because for years, owners and organizations could say, look at Tom Brady. He's the ultimate team player. He listens to Belichick. He takes pay cuts. He's the ultimate team guy in New England and the best organization in football. An organization that preached patience, that developed players, that didn't necessarily go and make the splashy moves in the offseason. And guess what? They were winning Super Bowls. Yay! And then Tom completely bucked that trend, went to a new team, learned a whole offense in a season without an offseason, and won a Super Bowl. And all these quarterbacks, keep in mind, especially Rodgers and Wilson, they're looking at their careers going, man, I've only won one Super Bowl. I need to get into that category where I've won multiple Super Bowls because there's always that but with the great quarterbacks. Dan Marino is the greatest passer that ever lived, ... But he couldn't win a championship. Even Tom Brady had the but. Tom Brady, the GOAT, the greatest quarterback that ever lived, ... But he couldn't win without Belichick. Well, he proved that he could win without Belichick. Rodgers and Wilson are in that category, like two of the most talented quarterbacks to ever play the position. But they've only won one Super Bowl. And Rodgers understands his legacy. And he understands winning another title is going to build his legacy long after football. Which is why great quarterbacks, great business leaders, when you see something work, you try to copy and emulate it. So what am I getting at? What happened with Tom Brady a year before his departure in New England? No one ever really talks about this. But after every season, Tom Brady would pretty much, renegotiate his contract so he would take less money and it would give the Patriots more cap flexibility, right? But before that last season in New England, he cleverly changed the language in the contract so he had a clean break. So if he wanted to leave New England, he could. And timing was very important because, and what was the final straw that broke his back in New England? It was after the Buffalo Bills got Stephon Diggs. They went out and got their young quarterback, a great receiver on the market. And New England didn't. And less than 24 hours later, Brady was gone. So let me get back to how does this impact Aaron Rodgers? Aaron Rodgers played this brilliantly for his long-term success. And this is why Packer fans should be terrified. Because now he's on a 2-year contract instead of a 3. And he's now given himself 2 outs after this season. It reminds me a lot of parents who are getting divorced, but they say, we got to stay together for the children. We'll try to make it work. We'll try to be civil. We'll break up once they get into college. We'll figure it out it'll be tough. There's going to be rough patches. It's going to be awkward, but we're going to get through this. That's what it feels like in Green Bay. They know the divorce is coming. I mean, Rodgers has even turned down reportedly a contract that would have made him the highest paid player in the NFL. It's not about the money for Aaron. It's about the respect and, more importantly, the chance to win and win Super Bowls. So for Aaron Rodgers, he's now put himself in a great position. It's going to be awkward this year, and I'm going to be fascinated to see how it works out with the Packers this year. But Rodgers was very smart in doing what he did because now he has given himself the escape clause. And now the obvious people are saying, well, wait, isn't that 2 years? He has to play in Green Bay for 2 years, but he can get a clean out because part of the renegotiation is the Packers cannot tag him. So on the outside saying, well, okay, he's got 2 more years in Green Bay. Not necessarily. Because he's coming back. He's going to play for the Packers this year. I think he's going to show that he's going to live up to the contract. That he's going to show the fans that he wants to play. But at the end of the year, and I do not see this team making it to the Super Bowl, aside from the lack of pieces on this team, this distraction is going to be the entire season. I really do think that it's going to end at the end of this season because Aaron Rodgers can walk into Green Bay and say, you know what? I played this year, and you know what, guys? I still don't trust you. I don't see how you're going to make this team better. I want out. You can cut me, save some money, or you can trade me because I am not coming back after next year. So Green Bay then will have a choice. And it's, do we let this awkward stage go on longer? We know it's going to end. Do we let Aaron Rodgers walk out that door for basically nothing? Or do we try to get some pieces to rebuild this? And I think that's how Rodgers is going to sell it to Green Bay. He's like, look, you're either going to get something for me or some great draft capital, or I'm walking away from here and you will get nothing. You will have nothing. Because from all indications, Jordan Love is not the answer. Because if the Packers organization really, truly believed Jordan Love could be the next great franchise quarterback, would they be trying to mend all these problems with Aaron? Would they be trying to extend Aaron? No. They could hold a harder stance, and they don't have the leverage. And now Aaron has even more leverage because of this contract negotiation. In the short term, Green Bay wins because they're going to have their star quarterback this year. And even with all the distractions, they should win this division. Detroit's the biggest mess in football, in my opinion. The Vikings still have Kirk Cousins, and the Bears are going to have a rookie quarterback. I mean, the Packers should sleepwalk in this division to win this division because it's so incompetent. But the problem is now they've also hurt themselves in the long term because they're still likely going to have to move on from Aaron Rodgers. Because what's this front office going to do? The draft's already over. Free agency's already over. Even if the Packers try to sell Aaron, we're gonna go all in this last year for you. We're gonna do everything. Aaron can say, I've been here the last decade. What about going after Julio Jones last offseason when he was on the market? Didn't do that. What about getting me an offensive piece in the draft? Didn't do that. You know, there's so much animosity between these two. It just feels like this is just them patching it up for the short term because Aaron wants to get his money this year. Green Bay wants to be competitive this year, but after this season, Rodgers can say, you know, I can lose some money in the short term now because I only have 1 year left on my contract. If you can cut me, but I would try trading me and trade me to a team I want to go to because you're going to lose me for nothing. And it all goes back to Tom Brady because Tom Brady was very smart. Like I said, he went back and went into his contract and put in a clause that he could not be franchise tagged. What is Rodgers doing? He's getting a year out of his contract early for the void, and it's setting up this situation where if you read the print, they keep saying they will evaluate after next season an extension. I do not see an extension because unless this team does a dramatic mid-season trade to get a superstar in there to help Aaron Rodgers, which Green Bay, that's not in their DNA. They want to be conservative. They want to develop players. They want to bring guys up through their system. They're not about the big flashy move. They're not about the big trade. I don't see how they're going to change the narrative for Aaron Rodgers during the season. And at the end of the season, when they likely lose in the postseason again, Aaron Rodgers is going to go, you know, this is 3 years in a row we made the postseason with me. I got you there, but I don't have the pieces to get you any further, and I don't think we have the resources to do that, and I want out. And it's going to be tough because Green Bay is going to be in a no-win situation at the year because they can keep him for another year of this awkwardness, or they're going to try to trade him and get pieces and maybe get pieces to draft a quarterback next year, which is frightening because next year's draft class isn't great at the optically right now. And on top of that, they have Jordan Love, who's now going to his 3rd year of his contract. They're going to have to likely take out the 5th-year option on him. So what do you get, a 2-year timetable to see what Jordan Love can do? This story is all about the fine print. We all see the headline, Aaron's back in Green Bay. But really, he's just punching his ticket out of Green Bay. He's expedited the process. And I would not be shocked if we now see quarterbacks put this language into their contract and make more of an effort to get to free agency, to get the opportunity to go to better teams. Because forever, Tom Brady was the epitome of what a front office could look to. Hey, you look at Tom. He takes pay cuts. He stays in the same place. He lets the organization build around him. And basically, Tom Brady, in the span of 12 months, left what many felt was the most well-run organization, not only in football, but you can make the argument in North American sports, goes to the most dysfunctional franchise in the NFL and arguably in American sports, basically gets to run the team and wins a Super Bowl. And you cannot tell me that these franchise quarterbacks that have made hundreds of millions of dollars, that are the best at their craft, are going, why can't we do that? So for Aaron Rodgers, he's following the Brady blueprint, which is, I want more playmakers. I'm giving you a timetable. You don't fill up your end of the bargain. I want out. Now, it's gotten uglier than it was with Tom in New England, but for Rodgers, he has handled this incredibly well, and he has now put himself in a position where the short term, the Packers won because they get their star quarterback this year. But in the long term, Rodgers has basically now left the door wide open for his departure for next year. And it will be the biggest offseason storyline next year, because I guarantee you there are going to be a bunch of teams lining up to try to get Aaron Rodgers because they know Green Bay will have to trade him. So it's a short-term win for the Packers, but for Aaron Rodgers, long-term, this could be the win he was looking for in order to get out of Green Bay. Thank you so much for joining us here on Rich Sports Talk. Make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our latest content. And if there's any stories you would like us to cover, make sure to put that in the comments below. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.